Happy Peace of the Epiphany. And growing up, we used to say Happy Three Kings. In some countries, Epiphany is celebrated a bit more and bigger than we do here in the West. And in some places too, gifts are given at this time rather than on Christmas Day. As a kid, the feast is for me, somewhat of a happy and sad time though. Sad because Christmas season is ending and it's time to go back to school. Happy because it also means that this is the last time we're going to get some extra goodies from our parents. My sibling and I, the night before the Feast of Three Kings, we would hang socks on our bed before going to bed. And come morning, when we wake up, that sock will be full with goodies, little gifts, little toys, chocolate bars, and things like that, though, right? And one year, my other brother had the most goodies. Reason? He used these athletic soccer socks, right? That is about knee-high, so about that long, and all we had was that, right? Not to be outdone, I said, next year, I'm gonna get the most. So come January, I had fashioned out a garbage bag into a sock, and I put it on my bed, totally excited and anticipating the following morning. I woke up, went to the end of my bed, and that huge sock that I fashioned out is empty. All it had was a note that says, "Sorry to advise you, your sock does not meet the specification. No goodies, signed, Three Kings." After getting married, I tried to sort of carry the tradition. So the first Three Kings that we had, before going to bed, I put a sock on our bed. And the following morning, the first thing I heard, my wife said, "Don't ever leave your sock on the bed." It is said, goals and dreams are like stars. We may not reach them, but they are always there to guide us. Growing up, my parents advised that we need to search for that star and follow it with passion, determination, endurance, and enthusiasm. Epiphany is a feast which commemorates the revelation of Jesus as the Son of God to the Gentiles, not only to the Jewish people. The Gospel tells us the visit of the Magi to the Christ child. They are honored men who left everything from afar in seeking the truth, the birth of the King. In Asian cultures, the Magi were often advisors to kings and held significant influence to their expertise. Today, we are invited to reflect on God's purpose of revealing himself to us and to embrace the light that Christ brings into this world. The Magi's journey described in the Gospel represents a search for truth and a willingness to follow the light. Despite the challenges and dangers that the journey presents, the Magi remain focused, faithful, and determined to see the truth. The Gospel calls on us, the faithful, to seek God diligently and recognize His presence in our lives. It also highlights Jesus as the light for all nations, presenting the universality of Christ's mission and calling all to reflect this light in our lives. As disciples of Christ, we too must be like that star that is able to reflect Christ's light so that others in search of truth, justice, and peace may also come to Jesus. The journey of the Magi reminds us to seek Christ diligently and to offer our best to honor Him and to recognize the many ways in which God manifests His presence in our lives. Our journey of faith is often like that of the Magi's. We wonder where God is to be found in our lives and in the world. We try to discover God's purpose and to follow it. We puzzle over how best to use our gifts in the service of God and our neighbors. We too have our epiphanies. We recognize revelations of God in the regular events of our lives, in the words of scriptures, in the sacraments, and in the encounters we have with one another. We can note that the Magi on their journey had their hearts that are receptive, ready to respond when a revelation appears. They are faithful in their quest and did not place any condition on the revelation of God, but recognize God's grace however it comes. Are our hearts open and ready? Are we prepared to respond positively to what God reveals? Our moments of epiphany or revelations do not always come in the way we expect. Just like in the gospel, the Magi were expecting to find a newborn king in a palace, but instead, they saw and met the child Jesus in a manger. This setting highlights that God's presence is often found in the most unexpected and lowly places. For times when we feel alone, abandoned, or forgotten, this is a powerful reminder that God is with us in our struggles and that we are never alone. Epiphany is a call to action, to be the light of Christ in the world, advocating for justice, peace, and working towards a more loving and compassionate world. The story of the Magi who followed the star to find Jesus encourages everyone to seek God earnestly. It invites all of us to look for signs of God's love and presence in our lives, and to trust that our search will lead us to a deeper understanding of His love, grace, and mercy. To all who suffer, who face persecution, those wanting in material and spiritual needs, for those that are marginalized, the message of today's peace offers hope, inclusion, and a reminder of God's unwavering love and presence. Epiphany celebrates the manifestation of Jesus Christ as the light of the world for those who are poor, lonely, and oppressed. This light symbolizes hope amidst darkness and despair. It's a reminder that God's light can penetrate even the darkest corners of life, offering comfort and the promise of better days ahead. As we start a new year and continue with our journey of faith, let us ask Jesus that we may be like the wise men who were guided by a star, and to give us the wisdom to seek Him increasingly each day, light to guide us on His ways, courage to search until we find him in all things, and generosity to lay our gifts before him, our King and our God.